Libby, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Let's get right into this. What was your first kind of breakout role where you felt like, you know what, something's really gonna happen here for me in acting. I'm gonna pursue it seriously.
Okay, so I was the event manager for a liquor company at the time, but it caused a lot of anxiety for me. So I ended up quitting and I just surrendered.
Wow.
I booked 3 episodes of Doom Patrol the same day.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be cut out for acting.
A lot of people aren't. It's hard.
I don't necessarily handle rejection very well. Can you start right there and kind of let me know what you went through as a child and why you felt overlooked?
In my childhood, I grew up with my father and my stepmother. My stepsister and stepbrother could do no wrong. They were the prize children. I was not. I was the black sheep. Everything I did had a consequence. And they let me know very early who I was not appropriate for them. My mom was an alcoholic and she was an addict.
Tell me about that.
I got a phone call one day and my mom was telling me goodbye. And she was drunk during the phone call. And I was like, what? Why? Like, what's going on? And she just kept saying she was sorry and goodbye. And she attempted suicide that day. That destroyed me.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes things can be unfair. They can be so unfair that at times you can feel overlooked. This is a personal matter to me. I've been overlooked, I've been rejected, but I want to be on a mission to help you to understand your purpose so you never feel overlooked again, that your voice will be heard, and that this will be your season. I am Apostle Dwight Buckner Jr. Tune in. Let's get started. The Overlooked Show. Some people find their calling through passion. Others find it through pain. Today's guest, Libby Blake, is an actress, producer, and creative force behind some of the most watched digital content on social media, including her work for Country Wayne's viral sketches. But behind her on-screen charisma is a story of survival, healing, and transformation. Her mother battled alcoholism, was absent. Her father and stepmother raised her, but made her feel like she didn't belong. It wasn't just rejection in casting rooms that shaped her. It was rejection at the dinner table in her own home. Her mother passed away shortly after Libby made the gut-wrenching decision to block her number for self-preservation. The loss triggered deep guilt, but it also marked the beginning of a healing journey that would lead Libby to reclaim her power, her story, and her voice. Now, through her art and authenticity, Libby is reminding others, even when the world overlooks you, God never does. Libby, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much
it's
for having me.
Such a pleasure having you on today. Thank you for agreeing to be here. Let's get right into this today. So, overlooked. You being overlooked did not just start in you trying to pursue your acting career, but you being overlooked actually started in your childhood. Can you start right there and kind of let me know what you went through as a child and why you felt overlooked?
Yes. So in my childhood, I grew up with my father and my stepmother. My stepmother had a daughter and a brother, or a daughter and a son, which were my words are hard. My stepbrother, stepsister, I have not talked to them in like 10 years. But they were the prize children. I was not. I was the black sheep. Everything I did had a consequence. And they let me know very early who I was not appropriate for them.
So they were hard on you.
Very hard.
But like
Very
most.
hard.
Okay.
And then my stepsister and stepbrother could do no wrong. So it made me lash out a lot. I just wanted attention.
Okay.
And I wasn't the best child.
Okay.
I wasn't the best child. I was not good at all.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where me being overlooked first started.
Feeling like the black sheep of the family. So you always find yourself kind of trying to get attention. Hey, pay attention to me. I'm doing this. What do you think about what I did? But it just kind of kept getting overlooked over and over again.
Oh, absolutely. So then I started trying. The good things weren't working. So I tried bad things, things that children should not be doing. Like I just did anything I could to get attention from that household. And I did, but it wasn't in the way I wanted.
So let me ask you this here. You didn't have that close of a relationship then with your mother or your father?
Neither, no. My mom was trying to reach out to me.
Okay.
I found out many years later, and I never knew.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad hid the letters. He didn't tell me about phone calls. I'm not trying to talk poorly about my dad.
Sure.
At all. But my mom was an alcoholic and she was an addict.
So do you think your father hid the letters out of trying to protect you? Or tell me about that.
I go back and forth because keeping a mother from her daughter and vice versa, I don't feel like is protecting them. I was in high school, I was a young adult. I could have handled it. It made me feel more like she just disappeared.
Oh.
I felt abandoned. And it was more things he said as well. He would say things like, "You're acting like your mother."
Wow.
So he was...
And you weren't around your mother enough to know how she acted.
Right. So he would really mention how bad my mother was.
Wow.
In relation to me. So I think it was more, I want to see the good in the situation. So I think it might have been a little bit of both.
Right. So you didn't hear a lot of good things about your mom at all?
Absolutely not. No.
Everything you heard was negative and don't be like her, things of that nature. Wow. So how did acting enter your life? How did you get into acting?
I was trying to make my dad upset.
Really?
And then I ended up really loving it. And I started watching and actually paying attention to film and television and having it affect me. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to help people heal and feel through my work.
How old were you when you realized?
I went to college for theater when I was 16.
Okay. And what college was that?
USC.
Okay. Okay.
So I went to theater whenever I was 16. Wasn't really 19, 20.
Okay. And that's when you begin to develop your gift of acting. What was your first kind of breakout role where you felt like, something's really going to happen here for me in acting? I'm going to pursue it seriously.
Okay. So whenever actors are starting off, they all have little side hustles as well.
Right.
I was the event manager for a liquor company at the time.
Okay.
Because it was work from home. It was very easy, but it caused a lot of anxiety for me. This is going somewhere.
Okay.
So I ended up quitting and I just surrendered.
Wow.
I booked 3 episodes of Doom Patrol the same day.
Wow. You fully surrendered.
And I knew, I was like, that was the sign I needed. We're good.
And you continue to pursue acting and things begin to really take off for you.
I never looked back.
And from that point to now, it's been acting. Wow. Wow.
Well, aside from the strike.
Okay. Yeah.
The strike was hard.
The strike was. How did you navigate through the strike?
So my mom died 3 days before the strike.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So I did not navigate the strike very well. There's a perfect time for a strike, but there's not a perfect time for your mother to pass away.
Right.
So it was on the back of my mind, the strike at the time, because I was in no shape to work for a little bit.
Mentally, because of what you were going through and things of that nature. Now, I want to get into this. You and your mother, of course, your relationship wasn't that close. Okay. Now, there's a period in your life where you wanted to reopen a relationship or fully develop a relationship with your mother, but she dealt with alcohol. She was an alcoholic. How did you navigate that, knowing that she was an alcoholic? Some days she would be sober, some days she wouldn't quite be there.
Whenever she was good, she was good. Whenever she realized I did want a relationship with her, she was in AA.
Wow.
She was trying, and she would go a long amount of time without drinking. And then every so often something would happen that would trigger her, and she would. And I just tried to, they were very far between at the beginning of us trying to start a relationship. So when that was going on, I was trying to give her grace and love during those times. And the next day she'd be like, I am so sorry.
Wow.
I am because she would call me and be very mean to me.
And so there was a stretch where she would call and be mean to you, but then she would recognize.
The next day when she was sober.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. How have you been able to process, the fact that, you grew up without your mother, and then when you finally tried to develop a relationship with her, it's on and off, and then she passes. Do you ever feel like, you know what, if she was still living, we'd probably been really, really close, really, really close right now? Or what do you think that relationship would have been like today if she was still living?
I recently had a dream with my mom in it.
Wow.
And she was the same version she was when she was in her human body. But that's the only time she's ever been in a dream and has been that way. Addiction's hard.
Yeah.
And some people cannot.
Yeah. Got it. Now, with your mom being an alcoholic, did you find yourself dealing with some of those same struggles?
Addiction? Myself? No.
Not necessarily alcohol, but with any.
Sure. Yeah. No, I don't. In my adult life, I've not really ever been a drinker.
Okay.
So I don't drink. But with addictions, I would say I've always tried, because I know my mother was like that, I've always tried to put it towards healthy things.
Yes. Because I know sometimes, based on the family dynamic, certain families have certain struggles. My wife, for example, her father was an alcoholic, died an alcoholic, but my wife never struggled with drinking. Now her sister, was an alcoholic, so she was able to beat, that curse. But again, her sister deals with that. So the fact that you've been able to overcome or not fall into some of the same things your mother, because it would have been really easy.
100%.
For you to start drinking. My mom was drinking. It could have been real easy for you to fall into that. So the fact that you consciously made a decision to say, I'm not going to drink. I see what it does to my mother, how she acts, and I'm going to stay away from that. And you're in a field where it could be really easy.
Oh, anything is easy in this field, So
Right.
I feel like it'd be so easy to fall into the victim mentality with my mother, with my upbringing, and I've just worked really hard to not have that be a part of who I am. And I feel like addiction, alcoholism, is a part of that.
Right. Is your father still living?
He is still alive.
Okay. So how was that relationship now with you and your father?
It's not.
Wow.
And I go back and forth every so often about it.
So you guys don't have any relationship?
No relationship, no. He had texted me when my mom passed away.
Okay.
And very quickly, the text came to the point of, you're just like her. And she was days, her death had just happened.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
2 years. 2 years ago.
Wow. Wow. So you're in a very challenging position at times because here it is, your career is blossoming, you're pursuing your dreams, acting, producing, etc. But no parents to really share your dreams with, your aspirations, and hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing, this is where I am now. How does that affect you in terms of your work? Does it motivate you to work even harder? How does that affect you? I know you go through times where you wish, man, I wish I could share.
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah.
The first time I booked something that I was very proud of after my mom passed away, and I worked and I came home, I wanted to call her. And I couldn't.
Wow.
So, and when she first passed and not having a relationship, part of my brain was like, what's the point?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
she's not going to be in your life. The life you envisioned is not going to come to fruition. Is any of it going to?
Right.
Which is not true
Right.
at all. But it does hurt sometimes. I do think my father was doing the best he could with what he had.
So you feeling overlooked in your home growing up, did you experience some of that in terms of when you began to get into acting? Did you feel some of that same pain?
100%. And I still do. It's the name of the game. Like, I feel it, or I know I'm being overlooked every so often. It's literally how the industry works. So,
But you've just learned how to cope with it.
100, you have to. You have to, or it would break you.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be cut out for acting.
A lot of people aren't. It's hard.
For me, I don't necessarily handle rejection very well. And so there would be these insecurities that would come out like, man, how come they didn't want me? So that God must have known that wouldn't have been my field. But on the other note, in ministry, there's still rejection there. But you learn how to cope with it, and stand on your own. But the fact that you've learned how to navigate life, knowing that you've rejected in your home, rejected in the acting arena. Now let's go to producing. How do you navigate that? Because I know you've written some scripts and you've gotten some rejections there. How did you handle that? And it was a good script.
Yeah, it's just not in alignment with that person.
Okay.
Or I truly believe the people you're supposed to be aligned with, you will be aligned with eventually.
Yes.
Ideas are not put into you without a reason.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a very mature answer, because sometimes we can actually think that we've missed opportunities when that particular opportunity was meant for someone else.
100%.
Right.
If it was your opportunity, if it was for you, it would be yours. You wouldn't have to try so hard.
That's good.
You wouldn't have to try so hard.
Right.
Like, who you are, who I am, is enough.
Right.
And the ideas I have are enough.
Yes.
It just has to align with the right people that have the same vision.
Yeah. And I've noticed that extremely gifted and creative people come from places of rejection. They've learned how to tap into all of their creativity, all of their ingenuity, all of their inward skill, and tap what didn't work for them into something that will work. And so, some of the most gifted people come from places that have had really, really tough upbringings, dealt with a lot of rejection, plenty of opportunities of being overlooked, and then they create some beautiful film or some wonderful business that takes off.
I truly feel like every person is a genius. Hands down, a genius. They just have to tap into it and not let people that aren't aligned with them think something, tell them something different. It would not be put into you if it was not supposed to be in you.
Wow, that's good. This has been Overlooked. Let's take a quick break here and come right back with our wonderful guest, Libby Blake. All right, so we're back, Overlooked Show, with my guest, Libby Blake. I want to talk about this, something we talked about off camera. I want to talk now. So one of the reasons you got close to your mother, or you were trying to get closer to your mother, was why?
I got a phone call one day, and my mom was telling me goodbye. And she was drunk during the phone call. And I remember saying, I just knew. I was like, what? Why? Like, what's going on? And she just kept saying she was sorry and goodbye. And she attempted suicide that day.
Wow. So then you said, you know what? Let me reach out to her. Let me do whatever I can to make sure she's okay.
That destroyed me. It destroyed me. When anyone in my experience, when anyone in your life is like that, suicidal, and they actually try, I thought it was my fault.
Wow. Why did you think it was your fault?
I kept believing what was programmed into me whenever I was a child. I didn't actually try to get to know her. I thought she abandoned me as a child. And yes, she did have her problems, but she was trying. And so I felt very guilty, and I felt like I was the reason for it, that she tried.
Okay. So after you reach out to her and you guys start connecting and you're in her life to try to prevent her from doing something crazy, how long did that last before she actually passed?
2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And within that time frame, you guys actually stopped talking again. Okay. What was that over?
She lived 5 hours away. She lived in Beaufort, South Carolina, and she was supposed to move closer to me.
Okay.
And I wanted her to be closer. I thought it would help with her addiction. I thought it would give her more of like a purpose, because she wanted so badly to be in my life. So she got scared and said she was not moving. And that hurt my feelings very, very badly. And then she forgot my birthday, which is just me being a child, hurt wounds. My inner child was screaming. And then she started drinking again. And her drinking was the last straw.
Wow.
And so I blocked her number. And she passed away, I think, a week and a half after that.
Okay. So you blocked her number. Of course, you guys had got into it. How did you feel knowing that you had blocked her number and then she passes?
Oh, horrible.
I know that was,
yeah.
I could imagine.
I have to live with that my whole life. And to, like mothers, even with their flaws, they love us unconditionally.
Have you kind of released yourself from some of the overwhelming guilt that you still may feel?
Oh, yes. I mean,
'cause that's a lot to be carrying around.
I do still feel guilt, but not like I used to.
Yes.
Not like I used to. My mom and her personality was not easy to deal with all the time. That doesn't mean I don't love her and didn't love her.
Right. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you do have to, no one's coming to save me or help me except for me.
Wow.
So that, and I'm going to be with myself until I die in this body. So I have to protect me the best way I know how, and that was how I knew how in the moment.
Did you have any type of support system around you?
Yes.
When you were going through that, just a circle to say, hey, here for you?
Yeah, I have. I've been in a relationship for 3 years.
Okay.
Yes, and he was very, very supportive.
Wonderful.
Very supportive. And I feel like about a year and a half of our relationship kind of was just the grief.
Sure.
So
Sure.
he was very supportive and stayed during lots of very dark times during that.
Good. So is there marriage in the future here? Are you guys?
I would like to experience good times with him as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So let's talk about the turning point for you. Mother passes, and what was your next endeavor after your mother passes? Something that you begin to put your energy into to kind of cope with the grief while working.
So the strike was going on, so I didn't have any acting work.
Okay.
Yes. So it was like a
So you kind
double.
of sit there and just kind of wait
Yeah.
for the strike to get lifted.
I felt like I lost my whole life.
Wow.
My mother, my career, everything
You
was
felt
gone.
like, say that one more time, you felt like you lost.
My whole life.
When you say lost, you just felt like I keep going through a series of losses or because when I hear that, I'm also hearing like I kind of felt like I was a failure or I kind of felt like I keep falling from something.
In the moment, I know the strike was not my fault, but
Yeah.
in the moment I did feel like the reason my mom was an alcoholic, addict,
That's a lot.
I felt like all of that was my fault.
That's a lot. And as of today, you have rid yourself of a lot of that guilt, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want you to carry all of that. That's
You can't.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, just the fact that, you felt like it was your fault while your mom did X, Y, and Z.
and it
You know.
wasn't. And
Yeah.
and grief really messes with your mind.
Yeah.
And me in my right mind, I fully know I was not the reason my mother
Yes.
was an addict and all
Yes.
the things.
Yes.
But in that time, I couldn't place fault on her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't tell her I was angry. I was the only person here to be angry and give off those emotions to.
Yes. Yes. Now, going back a little bit in kind of your black sheep years or the stage you were in, what shifted you from the rebellion or from quote unquote how they said you were acting? I remember you said you kind of acted out a little while. What shifted you from that into your craft? Because you could have very well just said, you know what, forget it. This is who I am. I'm gonna act like this.
My whole life. And I feel like it was like a just aha moment. Like I don't want to be this way my whole life. I don't have to like try to get attention in negative ways. I don't have to do any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't, it felt like a place of lack.
Yes.
And I didn't want to stay in a place of lack
Yeah.
my whole life.
Wow. Well, you've really turned the corner there, and even me hearing what you've been through is kind of like, well, how did you press through that? Nobody but God, that led you and caused you to press through that, because there are some that could have been in your shoes that could have just given up, thrown in the towel, said, "Hey, I'm just done with life." But despite all of your obstacles, you just persevered through every single thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
We have a choice.
Yeah.
We have a choice. We can evolve or repeat. And you can let something destroy you, or you can rise from it. And I didn't want that to be the end of my story, any of those trials that I had.
Right.
I didn't want them to be what defined me as a person in my time here.
Do you have a book?
I don't.
You're going to write
I've
one.
been told this. Yes. I've been told I should.
And I think it would do very well. And because of your skill set, you probably would turn that book into a script in a movie.
I have thought of 2 different scripts I want to do.
Chronicling your life. Yeah, I would encourage you to pursue that, because even as I'm just talking to you, I see, this whole script that you've orchestrated and got together regarding your life, and you put it on screen, and it just went. People need to hear, what you've gone through. Yeah. So yeah, if you keep hearing that, then that's a sign.
Yeah. I agree. A lot of people went through it.
Yeah.
So I have a podcast about grief.
Okay.
That was how I started dealing with it when the strike was going on.
Yes.
Because if I would have had a resource like that early in my grief,
Yeah.
I would have used it.
Yes.
I wouldn't have felt so alone. I would have been around people that understood or heard people that understood or went through something similar.
Yes.
So I created a space for that.
Yeah.
And I've told my story on that podcast, and people will message me all day saying the exact same thing happened to me.
Yeah. Just to be able to, just dealing with the stages of grief, anger and resentment and unforgiveness, all these different stages within itself can be a lot. So the fact that you've created a platform, on a podcast dealing with others that have gone through grief is a testament to not only you going through it, but creating something where other people can talk and express some of their challenges to be able to cope through it. Because, like you said, if you had it for yourself,
I would have laid in bed crying, but I would have watched it.
Right. Yeah, but it would have helped.
100. We're not supposed to do it alone. We're not supposed to do any of this alone.
Right.
And that is one of the things your friends and everyone kind of steer away from when it happens.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's take a break here. I'm Apostle Dwight Buckner Jr. My wonderful guest, Libby Blake, is here. Let's take a break and come right back. All right, we're back here on the Overlook Show. So, Libby, I want to ask you this. The letters that your mother wrote you as a child, she never stopped writing those letters?
Until about a year before she passed.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I have all the letters from college to a year before she passed.
Mm-hmm. And approximately how long is each letter? 2-3 pages, or are they just?
Yes, some are long. And then some are just cards that are like, I got you this and I miss you. But
So it sounds like through those letters she was expressing her love for you and some of the guilt she may have even dealt with while writing, but she did it through the pen.
mm-hmm.
May not have been able to do it all the time verbally, so she was used to expressing what she wanted to say on pen, through pen. And it never stopped. So what, do you have the letters?
Yes, from college to the year before she passed, I have all of them. And I also have the ones I wrote her, which is like this.
Wow.
Non-existent.
Wow. So there was some reconciliation there then. I mean, definitely some reconciliation. I think the fact that your mother passed, but she passed, after the fact that you guys have physically talked and started working on your relationship. So it wasn't just like, she passed and I never got a chance to really talk to her, but you guys were actually working on reconciliation for one another. I want to switch gears here quickly and talk about your podcast that you have built dealing with grief and some of the experiences that you've had just on your own podcast dealing with people that have dealt with grief. Would you mind sharing how your podcast has impacted some people, many people.
Of course. So it's called Lost and Found, LOSS.
Okay.
Like play on words.
Yes.
And
I like that.
thank you. And I interview people every week.
Every week?
Every week.
Wow. You got time for that?
I make it because this is like a passion project for me.
Okay.
I interview people that have experienced different losses, different amounts of time that has went by. Yes. I interview people that have had near-death experiences, grief counselors, hospice nurses, anything in the realm. And then the people that have lost a loved one, I ask them what would they have told a younger version of themselves.
Yes.
How has their grief affected them? What's the biggest thing they've learned from their grief? And I ask similar questions to the near-death experience interviews as well.
What was your so far, one of your most memorable episodes?
There was a lady named Kat. Her name is Kat Dunkel.
Okay.
She had a near-death experience. She was an atheist before she had her near-death experience. And she was an alcoholic when she was younger, I believe. And she had lost a son.
Okay.
And she had a near-death experience, and now she's a Christian. She believes in God. And that's like her purpose now. She tells her story to give hope to other people.
And she's used that experience to turn her life around. And you talk to people like this every week dealing with grief, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of tears.
100%, yes.
You know.
And I just did an interview earlier in the week, and I started sobbing in it.
Wow.
And I had not in a while.
Right.
And I just started crying. And
yeah. Because in order to talk about grief, you've had to go through a stage where you're able to process your own personal grief that you've gone through. So let's go here. Looking back, how did you begin to understand that moment when you had your mother blocked and she passed, that it was not failure on your end, that you were just going through emotions and challenges, but it was not your fault that she passed, and you were just trying to deal and protect yourself at the time as well? How did you go through that? How did you handle, my mother's passed, I had her blocked, but how did you finally free yourself from knowing that, this wasn't my fault? It wasn't my fault that all this happened.
Well, first of all, a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
And secondly, I tried to remember to do this, and I had forgotten for a while, because when a loved one dies, a part of you dies with them, and you really do. Grief brain is real.
Yes.
I forgot a lot of things during that period of time, but I tried to remember to talk to myself as if I were my friend.
Yeah.
And look at the situations as if they weren't me, but my best friend. And what advice would I give my best friend? And if this had happened to my best friend, it was not her fault.
Wow.
It was never her fault. She was protecting herself.
Wow. Protecting herself.
In that moment, yeah.
So I heard you mention earlier that you had some support to go through your mother's grief with, someone you're dating. How was that going?
It's going good. It's going really good.
You guys have been together for?
3 years, like 3.5. He's an actor as well.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah, we have 2 puppies that we love very much.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's going great. He is my DP on the skits as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Good. Well, good for you. It's always good to have, love, particularly that type of love in your life. When you go through something, it's like you said, it's not meant for us to go through life by ourselves.
No, we're not.
But
if it wasn't, I would have been doing her funeral literally by myself. Wow. And he helped me handle. You were not supposed to do those things alone.
Right.
So I'm very grateful that I had his love, and I still do.
Wow. I want to ask you a question. If you could speak to your younger self, the one trying to be seen, what would you say to your younger self? Or what would you say to her?
That it's okay and that she will be seen. She will.
Yes.
And that you don't have to try so hard, because I was trying so hard. So hard.
Just to be seen.
Just to be seen.
And normally, young girls that have their fathers in their life will kind of feel protected and safe.
Oh, no.
But that was completely opposite of your situation. You had your father, but you still didn't feel seen, still didn't feel heard.
And he, again, like he had never, the other two children were like the prize children, so they didn't lash out and stuff. So he didn't know what to do with me.
Yeah. How were your other stepbrother and sister? Do you have a relationship with them?
I do not.
Okay. Wow.
I do not.
Okay. Wow.
I hold like no ill will towards
Right.
them. I just don't have a relationship with them. I
And you haven't spoken with them in probably
over a decade.
Wow. 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 So you would tell your younger self that it's okay.
And she doesn't have to try so hard.
What do you foresee for yourself in the future in terms of acting and producing? What are some of your goals?
My goal with acting is always to just be in meaningful, purposeful projects that help people heal and feel through things. That is what I want to do. Or a really big comedy. I want to be in a comedy to help people laugh. Because a lot of people watch TV to escape their lives.
Yes.
So if it's not healing them, I want to heal them through laughter and being able to escape. However that shows up, I surrender to it, so.
And we see all the wonderful work you're doing, even with Country Wayne, and doing all great work there and helping to make people laugh. And I want to say to you that, not only with that, but there's going to be so many projects that you're going to work on that are going to help, take your career to where it wants to be and where it's going. But to continue to make people smile and laugh and enjoy themselves. And this is a prime example that despite being rejected and overlooked, you can turn that thing around and sow into and help so many people. So I want to take this moment to just thank you for being on today and sharing your journey. Make sure you write that book.
I will.
Because that book's going to turn into something much bigger than you think. And to continue to be your authentic self, peaceful, sweet, kind. And, you truly don't look like anything that you've been through.
Thank you.
So push forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much
All
for
right,
having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you. This has been another episode of Overlooked with Apostle Dwight Buckner Jr. Thank you for tuning in. I have my wonderful guest today, Libby Blake. I'm so excited for you guys to check this out and to share it. Make sure you like and subscribe to Apostle Dwight Buckner Jr. TV so you can get more episodes of content of the Overlook show. All right? See you next time.